As you can see, our strategy has three pillars. There's a framework pillar that we've talked about. That drives our programming that I'll be seeking volunteers to help with. Because we wanted to make sure that this was a DEI program that represented the entire AMASV family, we surveyed back in the fall, and I'll discuss those survey results because those are the ones that drive our priorities. And then finally, we will review the pledge, which drives our metrics, how we're going to be measuring ourselves. And then at the end, we will talk about the director of programs and the director of engagements, the two positions that we have open for volunteers. And hopefully some of you will be interested in the work that we're doing and want to come alongside and support it. All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started. So a quick note around for those of you who aren't familiar with what AMA is, we are celebrating our 70th birthday last year. I guess we'll be 71 soon. And we are all about best practices and AMA. We've been innovating as, all the innovations that have been happening with marketing. We've been associated with them and helping not only the professional community, but also the student and academic communities achieve awareness, leadership, knowledge, and skills in that area. That's what we're about. We're about growth. We're about connection and engagement. If you want to learn more about our chapter here in Sacramento or any place in the nation, you can go to ama.org. And of course, we are amasv.org. So the question that we want to ask of each of you is, what does DEI or what does DEI along with belonging mean to you? Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. What is it to you? So if you could take a moment, pull out your phone and scan that QR code, or we could drop in chat the Poll Everywhere link that we're going to be using for that. Then you can tell us how you would answer that question. So for me, it's about being seen. Sarah says, bringing all voices to the table. Well said, Sarah. Christine, opportunities available to those who do not have equal footing socially, economically, and politically. And Jennifer, welcome, Jennifer. To me, it means allowing everyone an equal opportunity to grow and join while welcoming everyone from different backgrounds. And finally, Courtney, recognizing and respecting differences regardless of backgrounds. Well said, everyone. Thank you. And so in addition to all the things that you said, as you said, a range of voices, we've talked about that, fair treatment, voices, perspectives, equality, opportunity, and fairness, respect, and belonging. And the dimensions include participation, appreciation, representation, and most important is just words and ideas unless you put it into action. So application. All right, let's move on into the program. Thank you. So I want to now start to go into our strategy here at AMASV. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. But let's get started. So the framework that we use for this is first starting with each of us as individuals. So making sure that we have footing in what DEI is and practices. So we spend some time not only at these town halls, but at some of our board meetings and some of our general events, having some level of awareness and education associated with DEI. So it starts with each of us. As I mentioned, our leadership, our board, we do speak to the topic and educate on the topic at the board level and at the chapter level, which this event is a part of that. And previously you attended our inclusive marketing event we held in December. And then finally, engaging in the community. So when we talk about putting things into practice, that's the framework that we use. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail in that momentarily. As I mentioned, how do we prioritize what we do? Because when we look at diversity, AMA through Sloan, MIT Sloan acknowledges that there are about 39 dimensions of diversity. And so you can't do it all. That's why we want to do what our members would like us to focus on. And so we've used our survey to drive our priorities and the choices that we're making. And then finally, the pledge that I'll be describing shortly has 6 dimensions, and that's how we're going to be measuring ourselves and developing a scorecard structured this way. So let's move forward and look at the AMA pledge. This pledge has been in effect in AMA for 3 years now. AMASV has been a signature on it. Each chapter, each of our 70 professional chapters around the country, 75 professional chapters can opt in to this. So AMASV was one of the chapters that opt in. As I mentioned, it has 6 dimensions, but the pledge itself is together we will use the power of our collective voices to outline the roles marketers can play in standing for and delivering on inclusion, the ideals, values, and principles that promote equality, respect, and unity. And you can see the 6 pledge dimensions: recruitment and intention and retention, representation, pipeline, accountability, educating ourselves, and partnering. So let's go to the next one. We'll talk about 3 of the dimensions. Recruitment. So our chapter and AMA in general, we commit ourselves to recruiting and training Black, Brown, Indigenous people of color, BIPOC, having representation within our board of directors, leadership teams, and volunteers and members. By the way, due to the tech difficulties, one of the things that I should have done when I opened is, first of all, say Happy Black History Month. And among the ways that AMA addresses this pledge element, not the recruiting and retention, is to have acknowledgments and observances that we do throughout the year. And that is something that my engagement VP or my engagement director will be responsible for helping administer. So we're looking forward to getting more people on board and helping with this. And then let's talk about representation now. So we commit to increasing Black, Brown, Indigenous, BIPOC representation throughout our products and services, thought leaders, campaigns, programming, and distribution network. So related to how each of us in our workplaces, how we do business, marketing can change things. The images we use, the choices that we make. I definitely see it at my company. I talked a lot about it during the inclusive marketing event. So we have influence, and paying attention to representation can change things not only for our community, but one of the things that we talked about is it's not just an altruistic thing. It shows up on the bottom line. It shows up in hiring, and it shows up in business performance. And we talked about that during the town hall. And then finally, pipeline, we commit to building a pipeline of marketers that reflect the demographics of the populations that we serve. Let's get on to the next 3. So partnering, we commit to partnering with organizations that value and have demonstrated their support for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know about at your organization, but at my organization, I've worked at Dell Technologies. Our customers pay attention to our environmental and social governance practices, policies, reports, and we do measure that. And so we are fully committed to it, and we strongly believe and have metrics to back that it does improve our competitive position in the marketplace. So partnering from a business perspective, but also it relates to who we partner with here at AMA. And when I get to describing the roles that we have, partnering with chambers and other organizations who we hire as vendors for our events and where we host our events and who we will serve all relate to that partnering dimension that we're talking about. I've already talked about the efforts that we make to educating ourselves. Again, that's a practice that we will do at many of our events and meetings. And then finally, we commit to demonstrating under accountability that we are progressing towards our commitments and holding ourselves accountable to make continuous improvements. And using this framework of the pledge is how we will be doing that at AMASV. Okay. So let's, are we going to do a poll everywhere experiment again, or are we just going to go with chat? All right, we're doing chat. So I wanted to do a quick little exercise. So we're all marketers, and so let's put ourselves in a scenario where think about your team is creating an email invite for an upcoming social media marketing workshop. How can you ensure that your email is inclusive, especially from an accessibility perspective? What things can you do? And just drop them in chat. All right, Christine says, making sure that all images have alt text that describes what the image portrays. Excellent, absolutely. Any other ways to make it inclusive, not just from an accessibility perspective?
Courtney says, keep the font size readable, not too small.
Absolutely.
Make translation plugins. Ooh, very
yes. Yes.
That's cool. American Marketing Association, Ernest, you know who that is.
That's Taylor, yeah.
Taylor. Make materials easier to read in font size and color. Any videos or photos are inclusive of multiple genders, ethnicities, and contain captions. Very good.
Absolutely.
Describing links. Don't just say click here. Describe what the link does. Access application here. That's awesome. I hadn't thought about that one, Christine.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Oh, we have another one. So go ahead, Gail.
Jennifer says split text and paragraphs into sections to keep the emails easier to read. Always a good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was about to say what Christine said is you know, don't write your copy for PhDs. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for all your responses. They were all wonderful. And let's get into the survey results because, again, that's how we're going to be prioritizing and making the choices for the work that we do. All right. So I know this is an eye chart for everyone, but I didn't want to go through these individually. Among the questions that we asked were several questions about what you're interested, what diverse groups are you interested in learning more about and or marketing to. And there were racial dimensions, there were situational dimensions, there were sexual preference and gender dimensions. There were interest dimensions like sustainability, interfaith, and mutual aid. So the responses that we got back, the top priority ones that we got back for our focus and where we'll be doing our focus in this year is on sustainability, focus on women, focus on Latinx communities and LGBTQ plus as our top priorities. And our second tier priorities will be on remote workers, the Asian community, the Black community, and the multiracial communities, both from a who we partner with and serve and help to educate and with marketing skills and practices, as well as who we hire, who we partner with as vendors, and also we hope that our members, according to the pledge, will take this into their workplaces as well. Okay, and we'll be talking about how we can help them, prepare them to do this. The other dimension that we surveyed our our respondents on is what are their programming and contribution interests, both in terms of programming they would like to help with, areas that they would like to volunteer for, and and who they would like to, communities that they would like to see benefit. So in that respect, they would like to see us program for DEI marketing best practices, and we are well versed to do that. Not just from what we know here in our chapter, but AMA is so serious about this that we actually partner with an organization. We contract with them called the Diversity Movement, and so we use them. We use their materials. They organize DEI forums that our chapters from all around the country participate in, and also develop materials. So we're not walking into this next phase of AMASV unarmed. We are locked arms, both with diversity movement and with our chapters across the country. So very excited about that. And then the other top tier priority is organizing our volunteers. That's why we're doing this town hall. So we're looking to get our volunteers in place. And then our second tier priorities, DEI acumen, dialogue, supporting diverse communities, their needs, and as well as supporting them economically. And then marketing to diverse prospects, understanding how to effectively do that. And then hiring are our ones that were named. An omission from the survey, but what was written in was digital accessibility and inclusive events. So we will be prioritizing those as well. Okay, I'm going to pause there to see before we move on, just to hear from our participants. Thoughts on our priorities and survey results, or even the pledge before we go any further. The floor is open, so come off mute, or if you have questions, you can type them in chat also. Don't be shy. I get tired of hearing my voice.
Well, I can go as an outsider. I think your 6-tier diversity pledge is pretty impressive. I've worked with organizations across academia, corporate, and nonprofit, and it's the most robust pledge I've seen. I think it's pretty impressive. You're doing a good job.
Thank you, Gail. And for those of you who don't know, that's Gail Guest Brown. She is the CEO of Guest Brown Impact, whose company focuses on DEI. She was one of the speakers on our last event as well, and is she's also sort of my personal DEI coach and is my wife. So, full disclosure. So thank you, Gail. Any other thoughts, questions on either the pledge or the priorities that we are undertaking with informed by our survey? Okay, let's keep it moving. So where are we? So our top goals that we set before the year started back in mid-2023 is to assess and strengthen DEI acumen of our leaders, to stand up, onboard, and launch our AMASV DEI volunteer team, and to host AMASV DEI town hall events and inclusive marketing webinar events. And so I'm happy to say that we've made significant progress on all three of those goals. Attended the AMA regional event and connected with the West Coast DEI directors and VPs, and stole a lot of their best practices from them that we are planning to put in place. And we did do a circle of trust exercise at our November board meeting. On the second one, standing up and onboarding and launching our DEI volunteer team. That's what this whole event is about. is letting you know what we're doing and letting you know that we are seeking 2 director positions as volunteers. And then finally, hosting the town hall. Once again, that's what we're doing right now. And we held the inclusive marketing webinar event in December. So far, I think we're making pretty good progress, but if I get 2 more volunteers in place, we can do some serious damage this year. So let's keep going unless there's
Question
questions.
for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you doing? Are you advertising this in LinkedIn, these positions on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Awesome. Good job. All right. I'm sure you'll get some feedback there or some interest.
Right. So DEI program structure. Again, the 6 pledge dimensions that you've already seen map to that framework of each of us as individuals, our leadership, our chapter, our community. So from a you perspective, paying attention to who's in your circle, and that's kind of what that circle of trust is. So we've done it with the board, but we can do it with members at a later date. And then events like this where and not only just events, but also information sharing that can increase each of our individual knowledge to address that priority for our acumen. In our leadership, our values and strategies, and mainly for you, it's about educating ourselves. But when we look at our leadership and our values and strategies, values touches all those dimensions: recruitment and intention, representation, pipeline, partnering, educating ourselves, and accountability. And strategies touches 4 of the 6. And so that will be looking at, how we recruit people to our board. And when we go up to our chapter, that's where we start to look not only at the membership, but the organizations that each of our members work at. And so what are the needs that our members and the organizations that they have and represent? What are the needs of those organizations that we can help them influence? So needs and impact are what we're doing at a chapter level to help each of you as our members and volunteers have a greater impact in this area. And as I mentioned, we are well prepared to do that. And then finally, our community level partnering and benevolence. And so one of the things it said, what can we as marketers do to help diverse communities with their knowledge of marketing, the skills that they have? There's opportunities for us to partner with chamber organization, youth leaders to come alongside business owners that are a part of them to help them be more effective in their marketing and as a result grow their business. And then that benefits our community as a whole and looking for partners to do that with. So that's a high level sketch of what we want to do. And as we get into looking at how we've designed our role, you'll see some of the specific things that we'd like to undertake immediately when we get these volunteers in place. Any questions about our program structure and how it will be measured by the pledge, or any questions, thoughts?
Hi, this is Christine. For those of you who don't know, I am currently president-elect for the Sacramento Valley chapter here. And I just wanted to say this is a great overview, Ernest, and really demonstrates the need and the clear demand in the market. I think a great example of where that those lack of resources takes place is the discussion that we had on DEI this past fall, which is available on our YouTube channel to review. But so many great points came up about organizational structures and providing DEI resources within a corporate setting or an organizational setting. So I think that there's so many topics that we can cover, and the more voices that we have pointing out this lack of accessibility or the lack of diversity or inclusion being represented. The more voices we have there, the more that we will be able to do, and more events we'll be able to cover and discussions we'll be able to host. So I think this is a great start for what's capable with our organization.
Thank you, Christine. We appreciate the support, and of course, I think you've been among the leaders that even created this new VP of DEI position. So we're glad to be making advancements towards having the education and influence that's possible, and look forward to having greater impact in the latter part of this year and into the next. So thank you, Courtney, for the question related to, for those volunteer positions, how much of a time commitment. We're looking for a 1-year commitment, and we expect it to be about 6 to 8 hours of effort a month. Thank you for the question. All right, so let's talk about those volunteer opportunities. So we have 2 positions that we're looking to fill for 1 year, a 1-year commitment. So a Director of DEI Engagement and a Director of DEI Programs that'll work alongside me. The Director of Engagement will be responsible for planning and executing our DEI observances communication. We have about a dozen or so of those that we already have planned and calendar for, but we need to keep it fresh, make sure that it is teed up in a timely fashion, so that our working in partnership with our communities, our communications volunteers, we can get those acknowledgements and observances communicated in a timely fashion. The next responsibility is to maintain our relationship with local chambers of commerce. And so that will be about going out and establishing and building on the relationships that we have already established, and making sure that those are fresh, that we are identifying ways that we can partner with them to serve the needs of their businesses in terms of marketing skills. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the ways that we plan to do that in just a sec. But it's making sure that those relationships are fresh, that they know who we are, they know what we can do, what we can help them do for them and help them with. And then finally, building and maintaining a list of local diverse vendors to partner with. And so when we do our events, we do our events at venues. We have food and drink at those venues. We have photography, among other things. And Christine and Courtney, you can type in any other types of vendors that I haven't mentioned in chat, if you will, just to say the type of people that help us stage our events and our type of organizations. So it will be maintaining that list of local vendors on behalf of the diverse vendors on behalf of the organization, so that we always have, if it's an event that requires a particular size venue or has a particular theme, we want to make sure that we there's an opportunity for diverse vendors to have a shot at partnering with us or being hired by us. And so we don't want to have to be scratching our head and scrambling when it's time to do our events, because generally we are focused on executing those events. And so we should be able to just stick and move. And so if I have a Director of DEI Engagement, we'll be in a great position to do that. I'm going to pause there to see if there's any questions about that position. So Director of DEI Programs, also for a 1-year role with a 6 to 8 hour a month commitment. And this one is going to be one where we are going to be partnering with 2 chambers. Cal Asian Foundation has a Catalyst Leadership Program. And what we would like to do with them is to do some education events with them too. They've got a number of times throughout the year that they meet on various business topics. And we would like marketing to be among the things, among the skills that we help them build in their young leaders. And then I see the chat item there. I'll get to that in just a sec. And then the last responsibility for the Director of DEI programs is to launch a similar effort with the Sacramento Black Chamber. They have a Young Leadership Collaborative program. And so it would be basically doing the same thing that we would do with Catalyst, just for the Black Chamber's leadership, are among the two tasks that we would like this director to take on in this calendar year. And I'm just taking a second to read the comment. A few examples of vendors we are seeking: speakers, sponsorships, big one, venues, whether that's restaurants, storefronts, bars, event spaces, catering, decor, flowers, etc. Thank you so much, Christine. So these are the two positions. They are open. I'm going to put my email in chat if people would like to discuss either of them, their interest.
I was just going to add that when you get your director of DEI engagement to help, I'm willing to send over a list of local diverse vendors that I know of, but also the chambers that you're partnered with would help with that list as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gail. So you can reach me at ernest.brown@dell.com, or you can call me at 916-847-8328. Any questions or anything else about the two positions? All right, we look forward to getting those filled. And as I mentioned, we are not ill-equipped to take this on. So among the things that the diversity movement has helped our DEI team across AMA create is our DEI toolkit that talks about membership, programming, communications, sponsors, partnerships, operations, and community building resources. So we will be leveraging this asset heavily as we look to do more damage in this space. All right, let's keep moving. So we have I know we ran over time because we got started a little late. My apologies for that. Are there any other questions before we wrap? Thank you, Christine. Well said. And before we close, another acknowledgement that we should do here at AMA, and should have opened with my apologies, is we should do a land acknowledgement. I'm broadcasting here from Roseville, and this area is the land of the Maidu tribe, and so we do acknowledge the land that we sit on here at AMA. And finally, we want to thank everyone for coming. We also want to thank our sponsor, Gail Guest-Brown, who is helping us with our Poll Everywhere, or our Poll Everywhere chat version, as well as a contributor to a lot of our DEI content. So thank you, Gail, for participating and helping us prep. And happy Black History Month. If you want more information, you can reach us at info@amasv.org, or you can follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, or on YouTube. Thanks, everyone.